Was Hitler part Jewish? I don't know, Kev.
Ever since Adolf Hitler first appeared on the political scene in the early 1920s, accusations have been made that he was partly Jewish. These accusations came mostly from his political enemies in an attempt to smear his reputation, a reputation built from the earliest days of Nazism on anti-Semitism. Such accusations were derided by Nazis as mudslinging and without any foundation. But it may surprise viewers to learn that Hitler seemingly took a great interest in such accusations, to the point of ordering senior Nazi officials to investigate his own family background, and that top leaders such as Heinrich Himmler appeared to entertain doubts regarding Hitler's family and ancestry. Modern historians have also shown that Hitler's purported Jewish ancestry may not be as absurd an idea as previously thought, with psychiatrists also demonstrating that the Führer's evident insecurity concerning his lineage could have been a very big factor in his psychological makeup and subsequent political actions. To say that Hitler came from a strange family would be a bit of an understatement.
Forsen. Yesterday you mentioned after banning Ambedkar links that you too might think it's milk and Twitch might think it's not milk. This video will prove definitely that it's not milk.
Was a
Not
violent
milk.
drunkard who beat both his wife and his children frequently. He was also a serial womanizer
Sounds like a link I
who
want
had
to watch on
also
stream.
been married twice before, and also fathered a child out of wedlock. Hitler's loathing of his elderly father has long been explained by Hitler's very different personality, by his doting mother's spoiling of the boy, and by Hitler's artistic pretensions that caused him to deride his father's career as a middle-ranking civil servant. But it has emerged since the war that another factor in Hitler's difficult relationship with his father may have been his father's murky parentage. Alois Hitler was illegitimate, something considered fairly bad in 19th century rural Austria. But it seems that Hitler suspected that his grandmother, Alois's mother, was hiding a secret concerning who Alois's father was. Hitler's grandmother, Maria Schicklgruber, was unmarried and working as a domestic servant in the Austrian town of Graz when, in 1836, at the age of 42, she fell pregnant. At the time she became
Schicklgruber?
pregnant, Maria was in the
This is
employ
lovely.
of Herr Frankenberger, a member of Graz's small Jewish community. This story was initially rubbished in the 1950s by German historian Nikolaus von Predodowicz, who said that no Jews were in Graz before 1856. But subsequent investigations more recently have shown that a Jewish community was in Graz before 1850. Predodowicz was also a noted Nazi sympathizer and was evidently offended by the suggestion that the Führer could have been a quarter Jewish. In 1938, Hitler asked Nazi lawyer Hans Frank, later notorious as the wartime governor of German-occupied Poland, to investigate his grandmother. The impetus for such an investigation was the letter Hitler had received from his British half-nephew William Patrick Hitler. William Patrick had used his relations to the Führer to obtain for himself nice jobs in Germany before the war and enjoyed his status as a Hitler relative. In 1938, Hitler, who had tired of his half-nephew, asked William to give up his British citizenship, and William, fearing some form of trap, fled Germany and tried to blackmail Hitler, the specific allegation being that Hitler's paternal grandfather was Jewish. Hitler must have suspected that there was some truth in this allegation to have taken the trouble of commissioning an investigation into his own grandmother. Hans Frank was hanged in 1946 following the Nuremberg trial, but a book that he wrote in prison was published in Germany in the years following his execution. In it, Frank maintains that he discovered that Frankenberger paid an allowance to Maria Schicklgruber from the moment of Hitler's father's birth until the boy's 14th birthday. Why? Frank found that Frankenberger's 19-year-old son Leopold had got Maria pregnant, and Leopold's father, in order to avoid a court hearing and the resultant bad publicity, had in effect paid Hitler's grandmother alimony for 14 years in return for her keeping her mouth shut. Hitler's father had been for the first 39 years of his life called Alois Schicklgruber, until in 1876 he had approached the church and local authorities in Austria to prove the identity of his father. Not Leopold Frankenberger, but a man named Johann Georg Hiedler. Hiedler was an itinerant miller and who had married Maria Schicklgruber in 1842 and was therefore Alois Schicklgruber's stepfather. The only proof of this paternity came from Hiedler's own brother, who swore before a Catholic notary in Alois's presence that his brother Johann had made Maria pregnant and then had abandoned her and the child Alois. Alois then legally changed his surname from Schicklgruber to Hitler, a variation of the surname Hiedler. Some historians have contended that Hans Frank was an unreliable...
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't really care whether he was or was not.
Dragon.
Whack, 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 whack.